Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. There is a new Evocati patch, plus lots of juicy leaks. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you so much for the support, it is truly appreciated. So, a new Evocati patch dropped last night for 3.20, this time bringing the hull sea and the cargo updates, which we will talk about in a second. Plus, there are some very exciting new leaked files to discuss. So let us jump right in, starting with the latest patch. Firstly, for this patch, the testing focus is now the hull sea and the cargo refactor, as well as the previous patch's wheeled vehicle handling improvements, the AI ship difficulty rebalance, Seraphim station, mining stability changes, the underground facility Rastar drop for bug checking, and the Arena Commander game modes. Now, it does also state that the new mission salvage cover-up is in the build, but not ready for feedback yet. So, for new gameplay features, it says for the automated cargo transfer and packing system, the existing cargo transaction system, which other ships will still use for this release, will instantly pop all of the purchased cargo into a ship or instantly remove all the sold cargo off the ship after the transaction has completed. So that is all remaining the same. But the hull sea, however, requires a new experience where the player, after buying or selling the cargo at the kiosk, will be prompted to pick it up or drop it off at a loading area. And to do this, the player retrieves their vehicle, then hails the location's cargo services to get assigned a loading area, and after flying their ship to the loading area, they will be prompted to stop moving and then extend the spindles on their ship. And once the ship is ready, cargo will be added onto the cargo grids of the ship over a period of approximately 5 minutes, which is depending on the size of the load. So I guess for now, 5 minutes will be the maximum, anything less will scale accordingly. And this will just be a temporary placeholder time limit, things will certainly change there. Now currently these boxes will just pop into place, and if the player moves, or it says if someone enters the area, the transfer will be interrupted until the disruption is addressed. And I can see a lot of trolling happening here, so hopefully they've got something in place for this. But after the transaction is complete, the player will be prompted to leave the area, eventually getting a warning for impounding if they do not move. Now they should probably use this impounding of player ships if they get within the loading area, in my opinion. So stopping people just sitting there to troll hull sea owners while they're waiting for their cargo to be loaded. That way, if they're in the area, they can just be impounded. I hope they'll do something like that, but it doesn't mention it here. Anyway, it goes on to say that with the changes comes a complete rewrite of how the cargo system places cargo into all ships. The previous version of the system only dealt with 1 SEU containers and could use fairly simple logic to place or remove. They now support various sized boxes of cargo to be placed in the cargo holds, being 1, 2, 3, 8, 16, 24 and 32 SEU, as well as supporting various orientations of placement in the grid to work around any grid obstructions. And I can imagine that this is a pretty complicated system to deal with, as I do tend to throw anything in my cargo hold, not really thinking too much about where I'm placing it right now, so I think I'll need to think a bit further about that. This also includes temporary tractor beam strength changes to support it, as we have heard, and thank you for letting me know in the comments because I completely forgot about this. The multi-tool tractor beam will be able to move 32 SEU boxes temporarily. This will change once they bring in the other ship tractor beams and the dedicated tractor beams, but for now it can do all of it. Also, the cargo grids have been extended to support non-cargo box attachments and also the smaller mission handheld boxes. So obviously this means the 1/8 SEU boxes, being able to clamp them onto the cargo grid, it sounds like, but where it says supports non-cargo box attachments, I am really hoping that this means ship weapons, components that we take from other ships, being able to clamp them onto the cargo grid so that they don't jitter around and fly around. I really hope that that's what it means here, as that would be a huge quality of life improvement, but I don't know for sure. Now, some new player movement improvements coming to this build are the updated vault and mantling improvements. That makes the process much more smooth and intuitive for players, meaning we will now be able to grab ledges while running and jumping. So basically making it look a lot smoother as well when you're running to a ledge, being able to mantle over it or vault over it in a much smoother animation, I would assume. But also if you're running and jumping, you will be able to grab hold of a ledge. So great for exploring derelicts and of course any other location that requires this. Also, it is nice to see something that was shown off at last year's CitizenCon with the Partner Development Panel, talking about how the work in Squadron directly impacts the PU. Now we are beginning to see this work for Squadron roll out to the PU. So hopefully we will start to see more and more features that were mentioned in Squadron coming over to the PU as well. Now finally for the build, there were 14 new bug fixes, 2 client crashes fixed, 3 server crashes fixed, and a server deadlock fixed. So a great patch here, and finally bringing that hull seat and cargo updates in. Hopefully, now with the changes to the PTU waves, we will see more PTU builds go out simultaneously, with maybe a wave 1 dropping sooner than usual, while still keeping other features in an Evocati build. But that is the patch. Let us move on to some very juicy leaks. Now, the following leaks are new files that have been found in the latest build, but this does not necessarily mean these features are coming in for 320. They could just be putting the code in for a future release, or it could even be features that they intend to show off at CitizenCon during a keynote, getting them in the build now so that they can start playing through and testing this keynote. But if any of this stuff comes with 320, I will be ecstatic, but I think it is intended for the future. More of a near-term patch than 320. Anyway, firstly, we have the new updated MobiGlas, which has a lot more options for various interactions and updates. The general interactions are not too new, aside from maybe a loading message, radiation in the personal status, and error message. I think it's more just updating the current functions that we have for the MobiGlas into the latest version of the MobiGlas. And with these messages, it could just be more like making it feel like an actual piece of technology. But one great new MobiGlas inclusion is for the StarMap, which isn't the StarMap itself, it's things like search options and usability interactions like zooming. And this will most likely be for the new StarMap. I can't imagine they would bring these options in for the current one unless they can apply to both the old and new. So let us hope we're not waiting too long for this new StarMap. And the final MobiGlas update is for the Galactapedia implementation. So being able to access the Galactapedia in-game, so we can read any entry while we're in the PU, not just from the web, but actually on our MobiGlas. And this is something that I'm very excited to get. Cannot wait to be just quantum traveling or traveling around, reading about the lore of the verse, and one day even having it dictated to us. Now there are a couple of currency transfer notifications for whatever reason. I'm assuming this is more to do with if you send someone money, it'll let you know more intuitively, or maybe just for the MobiGlas, we will see. But there are also updates for the friend request notifications, being able to disable or enable friend requests and their associated notifications. Which is, again, some nice quality of life options. If you don't want to receive friend requests, you can turn it off. But also being able to pause party invites, or even changing them to just friends only, which could actually be for this new ship trespassing system, stopping people from skirting the system. They did say they wanted to get some quality of life updates for that before rolling it out to stop trolling and griefing and whatnot. So my guess is it's for that. Now, one new commodity that has been added to the game files is ice, which, funnily enough, on stream we were just talking about, saying how cool it would be to be able to mine ice. And this commodity says that it can be refined into hydrogen and oxygen. So this, I'm assuming, will be for when we have things like life support on board of our ships, being able to resupply the oxygen canisters or gather hydrogen for fuel, perhaps, although they won't want to take away from the actual refueling ships, so it's likely associated with refueling and mining. So great to see ice added as a commodity, and I do love the idea of role-playing as like an ice miner out on the fringes. Now, the final files to get added are for the new underground facilities, which brings 2 industrial versions, one owned by Greycat and the other by Covalex. Now, I believe these are intended for Pyro, not Stanton, but I don't know. We may see them come to Stanton as well. But other underground facility files include a storage room, a cargo shop, exterior cargo, elevator room and elevator observation rooms, lobbies, dead ends, security rooms, and spawn closets for bringing NPCs in and out. Now, these are definitely the new ones, these aren't the old ones, but again, just because all of these files are found in the latest build, it doesn't mean we're going to see them in 320. There is some possibility here and there with certain ones, but it's very unlikely for most of them, as some of them we know are intended for later on, like the underground facilities, and others might just require a bit more work or be for CitizenCon. but it is still great to see these systems now at the point that they can be implemented. But that is it for today's leaks. Some great information found here and a great new patch for the Evocati to test. Hopefully we're not waiting too long for a Wave 1, but with that said, if you do appreciate my videos, please do consider subscribing. Also, come and hang out over at twitch.tv/supermacbrother. Should be live later today, discussing this kind of thing, maybe playing some Zero to Hero. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, does the channel a big favour, and tick that notification bell if you would like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, a huge thank you to my patrons and channel members. Cannot do this without you guys, so thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.